We supported other
always
people.
a very gracious. Yeah, we've always been very gracious
So,
in giving.
so given the heights from which we fell, that back to the point, that made you more shameful?
Somewhat, I think so.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And like I say,
Interesting.
once again, that pride, that's what it was sticking under there.
Okay, now
Right.
I tell you something. You say that it's interesting. We didn't talk about this, but some stuff I'm seeing on here. So, in terms of you say why it blocks intimacy, you say shame convinces people they must hide parts of themselves.
That's exactly right.
So I would notice you weren't. I was very comfortable sharing the story.
So, Jim, tell me, why didn't you feel shame?
I didn't feel shame that I'm aware of. Now, maybe it was so deep I'm not aware of it, right? But I didn't feel shame because I will say through no fault of my own, it's not like again, so we took all the money we had, we bought 70 houses, and over the next 7 years, we grew a real estate investment firm to 20 full-time employees, and we bought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses, bought and sold hundreds of houses.
Right.
So when we lost everything, it wasn't like, Jim, you gambled it away. You did something obviously, apparently wrong that you shouldn't have done. So
And I knew that.
so there were two parts of me. There was a part of me that I think probably why I didn't feel the level of shame is because it's not like I did something to mess it up. So part of the reason I felt like that is because it was the 2008, 2009 real estate crisis, right?
Right.
So the whole world was crumbling. So part of the way I approached the shame part was because I didn't really feel like I did anything wrong on one part. But the other part, and I say this all the time, whatever happens at our house is my fault.
That's what you say.
So now a better way of putting it would be my responsibility, but I like the hard, in your face, my fault. That's what I tell myself. So the other part of it was, hey, Jim, it's on your watch. It's your fault that this happened. So, hey, Jim, the whole real estate world is crumbling. Yeah, but I should have been able to fix it. But anyway, for that reason, I don't think I felt any shame. And here's how we treated this differently. I openly shared our story. You were a little bit more reserved about sharing the story. Now, I got to be honest. I don't even know why I shared it. It wasn't like I was like, this may help somebody. I don't know why I shared. I just didn't mind sharing. And the story that I shared about the lady coming into my office at the church office when I was on staff there, again, had God asked me, hey, Jim, I want to talk to you about something. Yeah, Lord, what is it? Hey, come closer and talk to you. Hey, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to lose your home. I want you to lose your cars. I want you to lose basically all the money that you have, any sense of security. Hey, I think I would have interrupted. Lord, but isn't my security in you? anyway, I want you to lose everything. But Jim, you're going to be able to help a lot of people. Are you
down with it?
Are you down with this? Oh, no. No, Lord, I ain't about. I probably said this. You know what I do? I got some great candidates that I would propose that you take. Because, see, you could take this guy, and then I could learn the lesson from him.
But it was for us. And you know what? It's been the best.
Be careful.
It's been the best.
Be careful.
It's really been the best in the sense that he said, these are two people that can do this, lose things, and still trust me.
Hey, I will tell you an interesting story about, I guess, shame. I thought one of the more encouraging stories that came out of this crisis is when the article in the newspaper came out, the local newspaper, I told you the story about the lady coming to the office. Mm-hmm. But here's another story. Another person, I don't know if you were with me or not, came up to me, I can't remember who it was, and said, hey, Jim, I read that article in the paper. Y'all went through all that? You lost your homes, your cars? You went through all that? I said, yeah. And she said, I didn't know this even happened to you. You look the same.
That's right. I know exactly who you're talking about. And yes, that's what she said.
Yeah. So I guess that, outwardly, we weren't, what's the word?
Distraught.
Yeah. We think that's a good word. We weren't distraught, but I was inwardly
devastated.
I was inwardly devastated. But I guess
Yeah,
it didn't.
it didn't
I guess
show.
it didn't show on my face. So I guess that is encouraging. But that's why I didn't have maybe the level of shame. We talked about kind of how we felt different levels of shame. Surely I must have had some shame, although I'm naturally overly transparent and share a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So do you know why, have we kind of wrapped up why our levels of shame were a bit different?
Well, I think it was just because of who we are as individuals and what we've gone through in our lives.
Do you think okay, so we went through stress, shame. Was your, we can't measure it. Was your stress level higher as well?
My stress level was high, but it was hidden.
That's not healthy.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Absolutely not healthy at all.
Okay. So stress, shame, the third intimacy, emotional and physical intimacy disruptor, you say is exhaustion. When there's nothing left to give. Okay, talk about that.
And I've seen this so many times when a person would come in and they are just totally exhausted in every aspect. So in every aspect. The emotional and the physical intimacy requires energy and presence and intention. And this person is like, I'm running on empty. I'm done. I just don't have anything else to give. It could be exhaustion from, it could be the work. It could be if they have children or parenting or caregiving, just poor sleep. It could be a chronic illness. All of those things can bring about, I'm just done. I'm just, empty. I'm running on empty. So then we have to look at, what actually is happening there. But yes, we can get to that place of total exhaustion.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So anything else, stress, shame, exhaustion, anything else about exhaustion? You mentioned that it reduces creativity, it reduces motivation.
Libido.
It reduces the libido. Even affectionate touch or meaningful conversation.
It's hard to do that
because I'm exhausted.
You're in a different place.
Now, I do get that.
Yeah.
I do get that. Not that I don't get the others, but, I try to put myself in these stories and stress and sexual intimacy, shame and sexual intimacy, not so much, but I don't see those so much. I'm sure I'm impacted. But exhaustion, because I'll say to you sometimes just in regular conversation, hey, Teresa, I just need a minute. Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
All right, so you talk about the vicious cycle. And when are we going to get to the part about for shame, stress, and exhaustion? How do you overcome it? Are you going to talk about that?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Keep going.
So the vicious cycle, stress, wow, this is interesting. Stress leads to exhaustion. Mm-hmm. Exhaustion lowers defenses, making shame more active. And then shame leads to emotional withdrawal, which increases stress.
You see the cycle?
I do see the cycle. Wow, that's really insightful.
And the cycle continues unless it's interrupted with compassion, awareness, and intentional care.
Let's talk about how couples can begin to break the blocks or break the disruptors or disrupt the disruptors. You say name what's happening.
Right. Compassionately acknowledge that stress, shame, and exhaustion is affecting the relationship. Not the partner themselves, but affecting the relationship.
Okay. So I'm looking at you, and I think you're the problem, but you're coaching me to look beyond you and see what's behind it.
Right.
The other thing, you name what's happening. By naming it, you take away its power.
Right.
And you've put your therapeutic seal of approval on that statement. Then you talk about creating space for restoration. What are you saying?
So prioritize rest, emotional check-ins, and support habits to reduce pressure and increase connection. You have to.
But that's easier said than done. We just lost everything. Now I got to work harder than I was working before to get it back. But you just told me to prioritize rest. Oh, but I just thought of something. You keep going. I just thought of something.
But I'm just saying you have to have rest in order to have your creativity, to restore yourself, you have to have that rest. So in order to continue going forward, rest is
I
important.
just thought of some great advice that somebody gave me about rest. When you're trying to build and conquer the world, when you're trying to build like the biggest empire or whatever it is that you're trying to do, and that is what I was trying to do.